This week on The View from 32, we have Gordon Thomas Ward. Gordon is a Grammy-balloted singer, songwriter, and author who currently holds the #1 spot on the charts for the top album in Maine. Enjoy. All right, here we are, episode, 6 or 7? Episode 7 now. All right, it's been going by fast. Of The View from 32, Criterion Theater podcast. Thanks for joining us, Gordon Ward.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you here. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I spent most of my life in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I am married with 2 kids, and my wife and I got married about 10 years ago. She has 2 kids, so combined family, but they're all up and out of the house. So,
okay, gotcha.
And we moved up here June of 2019, and building a house in Winter Harbor. So
very nice.
We're kind of local, right across the bay.
Love it. What made you want to pick Maine?
I've been coming up here since I was 5 or 6 years old.
Okay.
Really young.
Yeah.
So I've been spending a month up here almost every year.
Okay.
Since then, and I always knew I wanted to move up here at some point.
Yep.
So when our kids were up out of the house, and my wife's now working remotely.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
I can work from anywhere because I'm an author and a musician, singer, songwriter, and
excellent.
We decided that was the time, and
perfect.
we pulled the plug and
good timing.
Up here. I know,
yeah.
right? I know. I wouldn't want to be in New Jersey
seriously
right now.
Yeah, that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
This whole thing has just been crazy, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you just came out with a new album. Well, not just came out. It's been a couple months.
It came out May 1st.
May 1st, okay.
May 1st. It's called Eiderdown. It's a double record, actually. It has been #1 on national folk charts.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
big.
you.
That's awesome.
It's been it's been #1 in Maine ever since it came out, actually.
Okay.
And
all right.
I have of the top 10 songs in Maine, I got the top 6.
Wow. All right.
So it's doing
doing really
well.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's always a weird thing because you put out well, I shouldn't say it's always a weird thing, but usually you put out a record, then you tour it.
Right.
So I got this record that's doing really well,
Yeah.
and I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean, did you expect it to do so well, like right off the bat?
I didn't. No, I'm pretty,
you must be super happy about that.
Realistic and humble about stuff usually. So when it hit, I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then
were you just like checking the charts one day and you were like, oh my gosh?
Well, yeah, I have people that do PR for me.
Okay.
And so Trespass Music is who I use. And they're great. And I kept getting these reviews in, and then the charts started to come in. I'm like, wow, it's doing really well. That's really doing really well,
Yeah.
But it's always funny to see what people gravitate toward.
It's true.
And I was told a double record, man, don't do a double record because it won't do well, and it did.
Yeah, jokes on them now.
Like there's one song on there called "Piety of Thieves," which is #5, I think, in Maine right now, and it's 8 minutes long.
Oh wow!
It's a very, very soft acoustic song about people who pretend to be what they aren't. It's kind of a spiritual bent song. So I used to work in a church, so the inspiration was the people that come to church on Sunday morning. They act one way, and the rest of the week they're not like they were on Sunday. And all of a sudden it popped, and people just gravitated towards it, I guess. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, successful album, and then you said you're an author.
An author, yeah. I've written 5 books.
Okay.
One is a lot of histories.
Okay.
I did a lot of history about the area where I grew up in New Jersey, although it's a lot of memoir and what it was like to grow up in that time period. And I've had people read that all over the world and love it. So you don't have to be from Somerset County, New Jersey to have read that. I have a book called Tracing Infinity, which is about how I think we're connected to a higher power, whatever you think that might be, and how I think we're shown that during our lives here.
Right.
A book of poetry that I did. I have a book about the Lewis and Clark Trail, because I had way back in '94, a friend of mine and I retraced half the Lewis and Clark Trail from North Dakota to the ocean, to the Pacific Ocean by foot and canoe and bike.
Dang.
So it's sort of it's an 1,800-mile journey that sort of compares and contrasts a modern day retracing under your own power versus that of Lewis and Clark. And then I have a book, Ghosts of Central Jersey, which is about historic haunted locations in and around New Jersey. But again, you can read that from anywhere.
How many haunted locations are there in New Jersey? A lot?
Zillions. I grew up in a house that was haunted.
Okay.
And so it got me really interested in that at a very early age. And so I now do paranormal investigations.
Okay.
And
that's terrifying.
It's not like what you see on TV.
Okay.
You know, it's dramatized.
Right.
On TV.
Sure.
It's usually pretty boring, actually.
Sure.
You see.
Have you ever had any moments though where you're like, okay, let's get out of here?
No.
No.
Well, I have, but not when I was investigating.
Okay.
There were a couple times that were startling when I was growing up in that house. You know, huge like noises, bangs above your head when you're in, sleeping at night.
Yeah.
You wonder what that is, or the apparitions that were seen sometimes in that house, which is startling.
Sure.
It was just a figure of a man. So there's nothing scary about that. It's just that when you look up and you see something it's not supposed to be there and it vanishes, then it plays with your head.
Yep.
So I scared myself, really, because then for the next week I was wondering, when I open this door, is he going to be there? And I never saw him again. So usually the scary things are what people do to themselves. They could be, they're startling.
Sure.
But that's, it's the head games after that.
Oh, yeah. So you working on any books right now? Any writing?
No books, all music. I haven't. My last book came out in 2013, and I hit the music hard after that. And I've had three records out. Since then, and
So before you started writing, were you still doing music?
I started writing music when I was a sophomore in high school. And started writing songs, and was in bands in high school, or one band all the way through high school.
Sure.
And then when we went off to college, the other guitar player and I formed a duo. We played for about 4 years after that.
Nice.
And then when I got married, in my first marriage, it wasn't long after that we had kids, and I made a conscious decision to stay home with my kids.
Sure.
So I kept writing.
Kept
playing at home, but not performing out. And when my son, my youngest, was old enough to drive and get himself around, I went back to performing again.
Nice.
But so I've been writing and playing music since I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay, very nice. Is this record that you just put out your biggest one that you've done so far in terms of success?
Yes. Yeah, Eider Down's been really successful. Welcome to the Past was my first record, and I didn't really have a PR team behind me at that point, so it did okay. But and then Providence was my second record. And I had a different PR team working on that one, and they focused more on Europe for some reason. They said, apparently it's easier to get recognition as an American in Europe, and then the American radio stations say, oh, look what's happening across the pond.
Gotcha.
And maybe we should listen to that. So Providence did really well in Europe, but Eider Down has just taken off in the States.
Killing
it's
it.
Doing really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now in terms of release, you probably haven't really been able to do a full-on release for a show because of coronavirus. Are you able to still play? Are you doing virtual anything?
Yeah, I did an online release.
Okay, great.
Party.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of people tuned in, and I had a PowerPoint program that I did with lyrics and different images and things like that. And that was fun.
That's good. Yeah,
that was great.
Just a way to connect to humans.
Yeah. And then I've done shows out of my home, usually on Facebook Live. Every week, and that sort of spilled over to doing Facebook Live shows in different storefronts.
Oh, nice.
In and around the Ellsworth, Winter Harbor, Bar Harbor area, because I was getting my fans listening to me on the Facebook shows, and they would leave money in a virtual tip jar,
Sure.
and I realized they would do that no matter where I was set
Right.
up to play. So yeah, I've had a lot of success, or I should say the store owners have had a lot of success, because I'll go into a shop that has items that my fans, no matter where they live, can order.
Sure.
So not necessarily food restaurant
Right.
type places. But
Yeah, you don't want a mail order burger or something. But
yeah, right, exactly. So
Yeah.
for instance, I was at Willis's Rock Shop. We did a
Oh,
show
perfect,
there.
yeah. That's
Prospect
great.
Harbor Soap Company, U.S. Bells, things like that. And I'll play 4 or 5 songs and then turn the camera on them.
Excellent.
And they'll describe what they have in their shop, and then their fans will get introduced to me,
Nice.
and my fans will get introduced to the store. So their fans will be like, oh, well, maybe I'll check out his music. And my fans have purchased things from these stores. So it was a way to bring, I don't know, it depends upon the week, but
Sure.
anywhere from 300 to 1,300 people watching this show
Oh,
every
wow.
week. And so it's that number of people virtually going into those
Right.
storefronts and
Yeah.
saying, oh, that's a really cool fossil that you have in the Willis's Rock Shop, or that's, that really cool, whatever it might happen to
Sure.
be.
Well, it's a good partnership for the store too, because
Yeah.
it's fairly simple thing for them. It's just like, yeah, here's a spot.
Yeah, and they say, do you want an audience? I said, no. I want to come in after hours. Because usually they're happy hour concerts for me. So they
Right.
start at 5:30,
Right.
and they go like an hour and a half,
Sure.
along with the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I said, my audience is going to be on the other side of the camera. I mean, if you have a couple people you want to bring into the store,
Sure.
that's fine. But it's all about community. It's all about building community and doing what I can to help them.
Right.
And having their fans exposed to my music. So
I love it.
It
Yeah,
works
it's
really well. And they don't pay me anything. It's all, my fans are leaving money in the virtual tip jar, like I said. So
Sure.
it's an easy sell. you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Easy sell, great partnership. That is cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've had a
Well,
couple
we're-
of people scratch their heads, like, they don't understand the whole Facebook Live thing,
Right,
but
right. I get that. But yeah, when we start doing our live stream nights here, we'd love to have you in if you'd be game for it.
that'd be cool.
Be fun.
Yeah, I'd
It'd
love
be
to
fun.
do that.
That'd be cool. So, tell me about your songwriting a little bit. How do you write? How do you go about your process? What's it look like when you sit down? Do you sit down to write, or do you just have an idea while you're out in the yard and have to run in and?
Yes, all of those.
Yeah.
It's sort of a very mysterious process, and I don't really have one set way to go about it. That being said, slightly more than others, slightly more than 50% of the time, it's just when I'm sitting down with a guitar and I'm sort of noodling around on the guitar. It's like, oh, that's a cool little lick there, and I'll flesh that out into something more substantial, and then I'll let the tone of that melody or that song sort of will evoke some sort of a feeling.
Yep.
And then from there, it's like, okay, what am I going to turn this into? And then a lot of times I'll just create a melody and sing nonsense words.
Yeah.
Words that have the right consonants and vowel sounds that I think go with that
Sure.
melody, and then I'll flesh that out into
Gotcha.
lyrics.
Yeah. That's
Occasionally I'll have lyrics first, but that's rare. And then occasionally, very occasionally, this song will just fall out of nowhere. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have this song in my head, and I'll get up and write it down and go back to bed and wake up and say, where did that come from? It's like, I almost don't feel right saying that I wrote the song,
Right.
because it just appeared. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mysterious.
Yeah, totally. Well, no, and it's the more people we've been talking to and just talking about writing, and that seems to be the consensus with a lot of them. It's like, I'll be like playing with my kids or doing whatever, and I'm just like, oh, I have an idea, and I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll hear a phrase on the radio, and you'll pass a sign, or you'll hear some snippet of a conversation. It's like, yeah, I could take that somewhere.
Yep. I love it.
And I have a phone. My phone is full of ideas.
Your notes in your phone.
When I'm driving, I'll get an idea, and I'll just sing crap into my phone.
Your voice memos and your notes just
I
full.
wouldn't want anybody to hear it, but I know when I play it back, it's enough to give me, the chord structure and the lyrics, and then I'll take that.
Yeah, well, because you probably, my wife and I write and record a bit, and sometimes same thing, I'll hear something and I'm like, ooh, I like that. Yeah. I'll remember that.
Yep.
And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you learn that you have to.
I keep it next to my bed
and just do it.
Keep it in the car with me, so that when that inspiration strikes, it's like I would never play it for anybody else.
Sure.
Or
but
wouldn't intend to.
You can remember what you.
But okay, now I remember what I. Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. So for your records, where can people get a hold of those?
Well, GordonThomasWard.com is my website, and if you go to the store page, you can download it, or you can order CDs there. But you can also go to that store page and you can play the songs to see, if you like it, and you can download individual songs if you want to.
Now, if a business, or something sees this and they're like, oh, we'd love to have him in our shop, is that something they can contact you and?
Oh, sure.
And set up?
Yeah. I have a home page. I have a contact page. There's a tour page on there that tells you where I'm doing my Facebook Live shows now, and hopefully later live shows. And tours. There's a whole page about my books. Cool. And
that's
and
awesome.
The different programs that I do.
Yeah, I was listening to your music and reading it. I didn't look at your book page yet. I need to go check that out. Okay. Because that's cool. I don't know how you had the headspace to do music and be an author.
I don't actually. It's one or the other.
Okay.
And, most of the books I was writing, or all the books that I was writing, when I wasn't touring. I was
gotcha.
Raising my kids. And
sure.
So I had more time to do
Understand.
that. I could maybe see putting out a book of poetry now, writing a book of poetry, but in terms of, I know how I work, and I have to get totally in like that headspace.
Yep.
And I can't have interruptions. So once I get into that space, I just have to go.
Yeah.
And if I'm interrupted by something, it takes me a while to get back into that.
Yep. I totally get that. I totally get that.
The songs is a little bit easier.
That's true. That's true. I honestly don't even know where I would start. If I was writing a book, I feel like I'd be sitting in a laptop with the blinking cursor for like 6 hours, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna go outside.
Yeah. Well, that being said, most of my books are they're short essays.
Okay.
So after 1,000 words, 1,800 words, something like that, it's pretty much self-contained, and I can go on to something else.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And they're sometimes arranged into similar genres in my books, but one doesn't necessarily have to do with the other.
Okay.
So once that's done, I can set it aside. It's not like we're writing a novel where it's character development and plot and all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, that's good. What was I going to ask you? I remember what I was going to ask you. In terms of writing and music, and I guess you're building your musical base. What are some of your influences for music? Who do you just get in the car and listen to for inspiration?
It's pretty diverse.
Okay.
I'll draw inspiration from almost anything except for new jazz, and I'll listen to rap, but don't draw a lot of inspiration from there. But classical music, different phrases from there might inspire me. I'm a big fan of Bach. But in terms of the singer-songwriter genre, I grew up in the era of Neil Young, so especially acoustic Neil Young, Dan Fogelberg, Jackson Browne, Joni Mitchell. So those four are probably the top. If I was going to listen to a singer-songwriter, those are my top four.
Gotcha. Are they maybe some of the reason behind why you started playing music in the first place? Or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I played clarinet actually in elementary school.
Very nice.
My father had me play clarinet, and then as soon as I realized that the girls tend to like the guitar players, when you're in 7th grade, that's really important. But also, I was starting to write songs, and you can't
It's hard to sing and
when
play
you got
the
a
clarinet.
clarinet in your mouth. So,
Yeah.
my fifth grade teacher brought in a 12-string guitar and sang Peter, Paul, and Mary songs to us
Yep.
when I was a kid, and I just fell in love with the instrument.
Mm.
You know, I have to have a guitar. So my father got me a guitar that year,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have it, and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
I never really looked back. So that's how I got into playing
That's so
the
cool.
guitar.
Any now with your albums, you mentioned come out with an album and you tour it. Have you done tours for your previous 2 albums before this coronavirus?
Yeah, mostly in the Northeast.
Mhm.
I haven't had the desire to really map out tours and travel all that much. I mean, I have friends. I have fellow singer-songwriters that are in their early 20s, and they throw the guitar in the back of their car and they drive all over the country, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm married. We're putting a house up. We moved to Maine. I like to be closer to home. Not saying that if somebody wanted to pay me to drive to Missouri or travel to Missouri or Texas or that I wouldn't do it. But I'm a homebody.
Yep.
I like to stay home. So
I totally get that. I'm the same way.
I have a large fan base in the Mid-Atlantic area, from Massachusetts down to Pennsylvania. So I can go there.
Yeah.
And do shows for a week and a half, and then I'm ready to come home.
I understand. Now, once coronavirus is a little more contained, do you see yourself playing around locally?
Yeah, well, I like I said, I am sort of now.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
Unconventional venues.
Yeah. Do you see yourself
with a
doing
good
like
fan
live
base.
shows?
Oh,
at
I was set to play the Ellsworth Riverfront.
Oh yeah, sure.
Series this week, was it this week? I think it was this week. That whole thing got canceled. I had a bunch of shows set up here over the summer.
Cool.
Along with a couple tours, and they all got nixed.
Yep.
So my next tour is in September, and then I have one in October. So I'm hoping they pan out. But
it all happened so fast too. I remember I was chatting with I think it was Gus last week.
Cass?
Yeah,
I know Gus.
But we were just talking about coronavirus, and we were like, it was like, oh, this thing, it's in China, it's fine. And then we were like, oh, it's maybe here. Oh, the NBA's canceled. It was like, it just like exploded. It did. Yep. It was so crazy. And
my wife was traveling to New Jersey for work the end of February, and I had a gig in Ellsworth, and I think it was like a week and a half after that no more traveling, no more nothing, and it's like, oh wow. So
it was crazy, and I think for some people it's been challenging because they're more extroverted and they like to be around people, and my wife and I joke because we're both more on the introverted side and just happy to be home, happy to be in the quiet. And so we always joke, like, I've been social distancing for 30 years, so I'm good. But no, some people have found it easier for inspiration because they've got more time.
Oh, it's a great time to write.
They've got more time. They've got more time to reflect and to think. And so it's been, in a way, there's things that you get out of it that you might not have had, like time. But at the same time, it's for your tour on your record, it's been hard to do certain things.
It has been.
Just such a weird time in history, and it'll be interesting in 50, 60 years looking
make
back
a good song
back on 2020. I know. I feel like so many books and albums are going to start dropping.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a singer-songwriter, William J. Hall in New Jersey, and we're talking about introverts.
Yep.
And he is an introvert, and I'm more introvert. And we got to thinking that we know a lot of performers that are actually introverted.
I'd say most are.
Because when you're on stage, you control that environment. You control what people hear. You control what you say. You control what what people are going to hear and see. And when your time is up, you leave.
Yep.
You're not mingling among people and having to make small talk. It's a very structured
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
And
no one can really talk to you.
yeah, I mean, they can yell out a request,
Yeah.
or we can have a very short, back and forth
Sure.
about something. But yeah, you're in control of
Yeah.
that, and so I think that's why.
And I think the other thing that introverts like about performing is that they get to be around people, but at the same time, like for me, public speaking is terrifying to me. Because when I'm singing, or if someone's dancing, or if someone's painting, it's all they have it in their head.
Yeah.
It's all familiar.
Yeah.
But when I have to think and speak in front of a lot of people, my hands are sweaty just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm fine doing it, but I'm terrified on the inside. But playing and singing, you get nervous, but when you're up there, you don't even really think about it. You're just doing it,
Right.
And yeah, it's funny that you said that, because I really do think a lot of performers are introverted.
I'm more comfortable in front of, a packed house of 300, 500 people or more than I am if I'm at somebody's house, group of friends say, "Oh, can you sing us that song?"
I literally just said that on the podcast like 2 weeks ago. I could play in front of 20,000 people before I could play in front of like 6 people that you just said. They're just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you do a little something for
And
us?"
why is that? Because I have my own.
I don't know. So for me, it's because I'm more likely to know everyone in the room, which isn't necessarily as big of a deal, because I could know 17 people in the crowd. I just can't see them looking at me like this.
Can't look.
And I'm like playing, and I'm like in a fishbowl.
Yep.
Which you are on stage too. It's just a different vibe.
It's a different thing. And for me, it's if people come to hear me play at a show, that's awesome. And I love people that I have a very good relationship with the people that come to watch me play, value them. But if there's a song that they don't like, all right, they're strangers to me, that they'll like the next one.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting in front of a really good friend and they don't like the song, that's going to cut me. It's going to be like, I feel really bad about that.
Yeah, I totally get it.
So, yeah.
That's so funny. I'm the exact same way. And I used to play more than I do now. I haven't in years, but it's just funny because
You in a band?
I used to travel and play music a long time ago. My wife and I, we still write and record. My wife is an amazing songwriter and musician.
Oh, nice.
She's fantastic. I'm not very good, but we just play together, and she makes me sound better
You
than I
guys
actually am.
live in the area?
Yeah, we do. I grew up here my whole life.
Okay.
Went to the high school here, went to
Nice.
the elementary school here, and we lived in Nashville for the last 10 years.
Oh, nice. Wow.
We were down there,
Yeah.
and we just moved back again right before was all right, kind of as it was all unfolding.
Yeah.
And it was just it was kind of a mess, but we're really glad to be up here.
Do you know Sarah Trunzo? She's living in Nashville now, but she's
I
from
don't know her.
Unity, Maine. She's
Nice.
She's a folk singer. She
Okay.
lives up here during the warmer months
Gotcha.
and goes back.
I'll
down
look her up.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Nashville's a great spot, and I mean, every single you close your eyes and point at someone, and they're a singer-songwriter.
Exactly.
Which is cool because you're around a lot of people. But that's another thing that's really cool about Maine, and that's just what we were just talking about in our last episode. John was saying he's never been somewhere where the musical community is so just cool, just amazing people to be around. Not very competitive when it comes to just like, hey, do you want to come play on my album? Yeah, sure, absolutely, I'd love that.
Exactly.
It's really honestly friendly, and in a lot of places it's kind of cutthroat.
not
Like
that. Yeah, I know.
I'll do
I
whatever
know.
I got to do to get ahead.
Yep.
And so being a musician in Maine is a great place to be a musician.
That's why my wife and I chose this area. The arts are so vibrant
Mhm.
up here, especially Winter Harbor. You got Scudic Arts for All,
Mhm.
and there's painting all over the place, and music, and
Well, in the schools too, there's still a lot of those kinds of programs where they don't exist in a lot of other places, and it's just
great.
really great, way for kids to be introduced into art or
Right.
music that you might not get elsewhere. And it's just, it's cool.
It's so important.
It is.
So
It is.
my wife and I said we feel more at home here. Like I said, I spent my entire life in New Jersey, in a very nice area of New Jersey, that in terms of woods, and it looks a lot like it does around here,
Yep.
minus the ocean. But we feel we feel very accepted here. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just the pace of life is different here.
Yep.
New Jersey, love the people in New Jersey, love where I lived, all that stuff, but it just feels like a home, you know? So
Was it pretty fast paced where you were at, like in terms of day to day? Because Nashville's just everyone's just
Nashville can be like
pounding
that.
ahead. Yeah.
It was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know, it was a different focus. It was all, you know, thinking what you're going to do, like 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of what you're doing. So the pace was just
Yeah, and it's like, let's just sit in the yard. It's Sunday. It's fine. Yeah. No, it's a really good place to be, and it's a good place to have a family, if you know, and
it is, you know, and
great.
all the friends that I had back there, they heard we were moving to Maine. They're like, "You crazy? Like, it snows too much." And I'm like,
that's what everyone says. I know.
You go north of Route 1, maybe, you know, if you get up towards Bangor and inland, but we've been tracking it for years, and Bar Harbor, the coast, actually, the whole coast gets no more snow than Long Island does, or New Jersey, because the ocean will keep it warmer.
Yep. It's true.
Get a little icier at times,
and it's nice to have a little bit of snow in the winter.
Yeah,
it's fun, you know. And I keep,
but it's not the 12 feet that you get, you know, up in Caribou.
Right, right. No,
there.
and that's some of our friends back in Tennessee. They were like, "You ready for all that snow?" And I'm like, "Here's the thing. In Nashville, it's like 40 and rainy in the winter, so you still can't do anything outside. So you're still stuck inside. It just is 40 and rainy instead of 10 degrees with a foot of snow."
I will say that one of the differences that I've seen, and it's neither good nor bad, it just makes me laugh a little bit, is especially the last week, I've heard people say, you know, "Oh, it's so hot."
Yeah, I know.
"Oh, it's so hot." You know, it's 86. And it's like, yeah, it's hot, but like back if you were in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, it's like, people wouldn't be.
No, they'd be like, "Oh, it's such a beautiful day."
But it's like, hot is like in 95, 96, and like 85% humidity.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hot, but it can get a lot worse.
Yeah, I remember one of the hotter days we had, it still was, I mean, it was hot, it was warm, but, and it wasn't super humid, but it was a little stickier than usual. And it's just like, oh, this humidity. And coming from Nashville, it's like in a humidity bowl. Yeah. And I was like, man, I think this feels fantastic.
It's all relative.
It's true. It's true. Relative. It's funny. So. But the last few days have just been amazing. It's been, I don't think there's a better place in the summer than the coast of Maine. It's perfect. It really is.
I'm glad you say so, because we're here to stay now.
Yeah, well, good. No, we're glad that you guys are here. So usually I always ask if there's musicians are kind of known to have some funny road stories. Do you have any good ones from traveling around? Anything that, you know, just off the top of your head that you're just like, yeah, that was an interesting time?
Well, one of the things that separates me from the singer-songwriter from bands is that it's just me.
And that's true.
So there's no like, oh, you know, I walked into my friend, you know, my bass player when he was doing whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just me, and it's interesting how I will say that one of the shows that I was playing, it was at a winery.
Okay.
And wineries can be great, and
usually pretty chill.
Usually very, very chill.
Usually.
And they will listen to you more than you know, if you're playing in a bar or something like that. But this one winery I was playing, I was pretty far removed from the crowd, and I didn't get a whole lot of feedback from the people while I was playing, because they were all drinking and talking, and occasionally they'd, you know, applaud a little bit, but I was too far away from them, and I was thinking, well, you know, this is just like a paid rehearsal. Yeah. But the thing that surprised me was not only did people come up afterwards, they made that journey up to the stage and say, oh, thanks for playing, but the thing that made that day was this little girl drew a picture of a guitar on a piece of paper and said, she had help from her mother.
Sure.
She said, "I like you, you sound great." and brought this, piece of paper with, how you tear it off the pad and it's got those little ridges up, and handed it to me. It was all colored in, and like, that made my day.
Love it.
That was worth coming here.
I love it. Yeah. No, that's great.
I always say, if you can reach one person at a show, you've done a good job. If you reach more than that, that's great. But
and kids are so cute. It's so fun to get a little coloring from a kid.
Yeah, so that turned that performance into chalk it up to experience too. I'm glad I came today.
Right, exactly. I love it.
The other thing from a more serious side is I wrote on a song called "How Many More" about gun violence. That's on Providence.
Okay.
And I wrote it in a response to, I don't know if you remember, but there was a cameraman and a reporter, Allison Parker, who got shot live on camera in Virginia.
Yep.
About
I remember
4 or 5
that.
years ago.
Yeah.
And that was one of those songs. I was carrying my 12-string down the stairs that afternoon, and I sat down on the, like halfway down the steps, and in 15 minutes I had the whole song. And recorded it, got a bunch of my friends to sing on it, sort of a la, We Are the World type thing. And it got in the hands of Allison's father.
Oh, wow.
And Allison's father was one of the people who was organizing one of the national vigils for all victims of gun violence. And he invited me to come down to Washington, D.C. and play. And not only was I playing in front of, a packed cathedral full of people who just spontaneously, at the end of the song, stood up with their candles and started singing the chorus with me, but Allison's parents were in the front row. I had to fight to keep it together.
Yes.
And then I saw a video of the performance from the videographer. The videographer was halfway out. And they had this huge screen above me showing pictures of the victims of gun violence. And Allison's photo came on right at the end when people were standing up. And it was just a montage. It was just rotating through these. Yeah,
they couldn't have known when it was
all afternoon and all night, and it just timed it perfectly. I'm like, wow, hey Allie, that was pretty moving.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty incredible story. Just
you write these things, you don't know if
who's
going to hear it, and the parents,
Yeah.
And I have another song from called Four Angels off of Eiderdown that I wrote about the Kent State Massacre in 1970. Got into the hands of the sister of one of the 4 students that were killed, and she loves it. And I never thought it would get into
Oh no, of course.
their hands.
Yeah.
So because a lot of those parents, all the parents are gone now.
Right.
And so her sister, Alison Krause's sister, is a little older than I am, not much, but to get that feedback from her was great. I mean, so that. Yeah, see, and
that's something that's so cool about songwriting is you never know who's going to hear your song or who's going to be touched by your song, and those really cool.
Yeah,
those are great stories.
Are special moments.
I love that.
For sure.
I love that. Well, Gordon, thanks so much for taking some time and chatting with us.
You're welcome.
Seriously, we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Looking forward to hearing you play.
Great.
And so we'll cut out for just a second, and we'll get reset, and we'll go for it.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Hey, everybody. I'm Gordon Thomas Ward. Happy to be playing here today at the Criterion. This podcast. This is awesome. Desiree is the name of this first song I'm going to do, and Desiree is on my record Eiderdown. That's my newest album out, and it's also released as a single. It's about those times in life that I think we've all had them, where we were warned about not getting into a relationship because it might end badly, and of course we thought that it wouldn't happen to us, and of course it did. That's what this is about. Desiree, mind her green eyes that tell sweet lies behind paper fans. Desiree, she will haunt you, and she'll taunt you, tracing secrets in the sand. Carried in flight on the wings of the night, she is soaring. Come the morning, she'll be gone. Lover in part, she'll deny you her heart and deceive you. Then she'll leave you with the dawn. Desiree will caress you, and she'll dress you in a dream. Desiree, silk and satin, all adorned in the finest filigree. Carried in flight on the wings of the night, she is soaring. Come the morning, she'll be gone. Lover in part, she'll deny you her heart and deceive you. Then she'll leave you with the dawn. Coaxing you close to the edge of your cautious existence, tempting and teasing you, contemplate seizing the flame, cursing the weight of your fortified mortal existence. Her persistence calls your name. Desiree, mind her green eyes that tell sweet lies behind paper fans. Desiree, she will haunt you, then she'll taunt you, tracing secrets in the sand. Desiree, Desiree, Desiree. Hey, thank you, thank you. I'm going to switch guitars here. This is the title song off of my new record, Eider Down. And of course, we're coming to you from Bar Harbor, and this is a song written about a ghost on Scoodic Point, which is just across Frenchman's Bay on the other part of Acadia National Park. And she's said to mourn the loss of her lover who drowned at sea, who was a fisherman. And she said that you could hear her voice on, in the on foggy days and stormy nights out there, and her voice is supposed to be as soft as eider down. And for those of you who don't know, eider down is the very highly prized breast feathers of the eider duck that's used for insulation and things like that. So it's very very soft. That's why it's called Eider Down. It goes like this. 'Twas years ago on Scoodic Point, I felt your soul pass through me. Mysterious as the morning mist, and soft as eider down. You gave your love to a sailor fair, who pledged in spring to marry. He said your voice was like the wind, and soft as eider down. Eider down. Was swallowed by the sea when autumn gales turned stormy. Fate left you weeping on the rocks, your darkness filled with mourning. You spent your sorrow on that shore, staring in the waters, singing to the wind-whipped waves, your voice like eider down. Eider down. When you breathe your last, your ashes cast to join your sailor fair, glittering in the ocean breeze, as soft as eider down. Still you'll hear it told on Scoodic Point, how the waves and winds still hold a voice that drifts like morning mist, and soft as eider down. Thank you. This is a song called The Horseman, and The Horseman is off of my second record, Providence. And it's about the ghost of a headless Hessian soldier that comes out of the Great Swamp in New Jersey. And people have seen it for a couple hundred years, and what I found out when I was writing my book, The Ghosts of Central Jersey, is that Washington Irving, who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, there are many literary experts who believe that when he was visiting friends in Morristown, New Jersey, which is not far from the Great Swamp, it's right on the edge of it, that he heard the story about the headless Hessian of the Great Swamp and took it back with him to Tarrytown and wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is a song called The Horseman. Well, don't travel in the swamp at night. You're bound to see a dreadful sight. Hessian soldier long since dead, searching for his missing head. Hessian soldier long since dead, searching for his missing head. He met his fate in days of yore, the Revolutionary War. Townsfolk sent him to his grave. His wandering soul was never saved. Townsfolk sent him to his grave. His wandering soul was never saved. Horseman, can you see that fear of you inside of me? Horseman, so they tell, a headless rider straight from hell. Throughout the countryside, upon his demon steed he rides. Beware the hoofbeats in the dusk, lest your bones be turned to dust. Beware the hoofbeats in the dusk, lest your bones be turned to dust. Horseman, can you see that fear of you inside of me? Horseman, so they tell, a headless rider straight from hell. Hear him ride now. When the sun sinks from the sky, when Twilight falls and spirits fly. Best lock your doors, stay inside. 'Twill be the time the horseman rides. Lock your doors and stay inside. 'Twill be the time the horseman rides. Horseman, horseman, can you see that fear of you inside of me? Horseman, horseman, so they tell. Endless rider straight from hell. Horseman, horseman, can you see that fear of you inside of me? Horseman, horseman, so they tell. Headless rider straight from hell. Thank you. All right, this is a song that's called "Just One More," and this is off of my second record as well, Providence. And this is about those. It's about looking back at the past and how that can teach you to appreciate what we have in the here and now. It's called "Just One More." Mothers read our favorite stories to chase the storms away. Dads helped to catch those fireflies at the close of a summer's day. Our dogs ran through the yards, laid their heads upon our laps. There's not much we wouldn't give to get those simple pleasures back. For one more hour, 1 month more, one more year as we remember from before. String your pearls of memories. It won't be long before we're wishing on our knees for just one more. Lovers in the tall grass, kisses 'neath the pier, wedding strollers, children's hands, lives we hold so dear. Families grow and dwindle in the cascading of time. Through our goodbyes we whisper, I wish that you were mine. For one more hour, 1 month more, one more year as we remember from before. String your pearls of memories. It won't be long before you're wishing on your knees for just one more. Blind men yearn to see the mountains. Deaf men thirst to hear the sea. From the touch of a lover to the laughter of a child, it's the moments of a lifetime that we'll seek, slipping by unrecognized by you and me. Sons and daughters moved away, parents long passed through. Sometimes we think we hear them call the way they used to do. And you walk through that kitchen door tonight, and I can't help but stare. I want to capture every moment of us while we both are here. For one more hour, 1 month more, another year as we remember from before. String your pearls of memories. It won't be long before you're wishing on your knees. For one more hour, 1 month more, another year as we remember from before. String your pearls of memories. Won't be long before you're wishing on your knees. It won't be long before we're wishing on our knees for just one more. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Gordon Thomas Ward, and if you're interested in hearing my music, you can go to gordonthomasward.com. Lots of different pages there to check out, tour schedules. I'm also a writer, and so my books are on there too, on a certain page. But if you go to the store page, you can hear all the music and download stuff, get CDs, individual songs, records, whatever you'd like. Okay? Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.